Hey guys, Dr. Shadden here again with a great idea for an activity that you can get some movement going in your classroom. It works great as a review activity. It could even be practice problems. Today, the one I'm going to show you is a search and rescue. That's what we call them, search and rescue. Is a search and rescue for the three ways to write a number. So, standard form, expanded form, and word form. So I have this little sheet here that is what the students would, sorry, just making sure you can see it. This is what the students would complete. So I gave them an example and did the first one for them. So here's the form on the card is in this column, which is what they would find on the front of the card. And then the form in the next card is here, and then you write the missing form. So this is the part they're doing on their own. This is what they are searching for, and this is what's already posted for them. So I hope that makes sense, and I will share this document with you guys. And I just keep all of my search and rescues just in a very basic, cheap folder, search and rescue, and label it. It's number forms, search and rescue. Super high tech, I know. So anyways, each student would get one of these sheets, and then you would make cards. So this set has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. And what you do is you tape them on the wall with the front of the card showing. So this says 100,276,020. So what they would need to do is go around and find which one this goes in. So I actually put them on the outside and the inside because I found it was actually easier to post it up on the wall like this, so they could go find the other form of 100,276,020. Okay, we need to remember to attend to precision like the 8 mathematical practices teach us to, and make sure we don't put and in our numbers. And is not a number. So we write them out. So what the students would do, and what we did was we would go to like the media center, but you could obviously post these up in your classroom. And what they do is they find, it says on the front of the card, 100,276,000. So they would find that on their chart. It's right here at the bottom. They would find the form in the next card. So they need to go around the room and find the next card that has this same number represented in a different way. So I'm going to tape these up really quick to show you. And remember, these aren't edited, so I'm not going to stop and pause. So you're just going to see me tape these to the playroom wall as an example. Oops. So these would obviously not be taped right next to each other. They would be taped all around the room. So you would have kids moving in every different direction. And how I would start them is I just had them pick a card to start with, or you could divide them into groups and number the cards, or give each card a letter, maybe, so it doesn't get confusing with numbered groups versus what numbers they're working on. And these would be posted all over the place. And they could just pick one to get started. So I'll just show you. They're all up there. So this is the one we started with, and it has 100,276,020. So we're looking for that top number that's written out in word form. We're looking for it in expanded or written out form. So we are looking for, I don't see it, so I'm wondering if I'm missing a card. Nope, there it is. All right, so 100,276,020. So they would go to this card next. They would write this 100,276,020. It's hard when you haven't taught this in a while to remember and attend to precision with your wording, right? So this would go in that next column on their worksheet. So then after they're at this card, because they went to there, then they would go up, they look to the top. So then they go back to the top of the card, 400,302,050, and they would find that written on another card, which is actually over here. So then they would, didn't tape that one up very well, but so then here's the number written in standard form. They would then write that in the second column of their chart. And, you know, in the third column of their chart is where they would write their own, whatever version is missing, because there's 3 ways to write a number that we're working on: word form, standard form, and expanded form. So whichever form is missing is what they write in that third column, and I'll get back to that in a second. So now they've found the number here. So now they go back to the top of the card. And we're looking at 2 million plus 20,000 plus 900 plus 10. So now I'm going to let that just fall. So now that one's here. And if you can imagine, I mean, obviously I have them all put on the same part of the wall, but if you could imagine these being posted all over your room and maybe even on chart paper, although I did use them in this size, these are actual ones I used to use. Being all over your room, how fun that would be to get your kids up and moving a little bit. So then there's the next number. So then they would look, after they write this on their chart, then they would look to the top, and now they're looking for the 40 million number, which is right here. So then they would write this in their chart on the second column, and then they go back to the top, and they're looking for that 608,000, which is down here. So then they would write this in their chart. So now they already have standard form and expanded form. What version would they write on their chart? Word form. So that would be the third column in their chart. So then they go back to the top and they're looking at that 70 million number, 70,902,105. And that one's over here, which brings us back to the beginning. And now we're done. So now they would have a complete chart. And you could either have them, put you back down. You could either have them just go around and do the card activity and fill in this column first. So the column that they found on the card. And then they could all sit down when they're done. That would give, you know, the ones who finish really quickly something to do while they're done is fill in this chart. And the ones who finished really early were able to write their own 3 versions on the back, and they could trade with a friend. So they could write one version, the friend could write the next version, and then they'd give it back to the original owner to write the third version. And that was really fun. This is called search and rescue because obviously they're looking around. And then I used to wear a lifeguard whistle, and they could come to me if they needed help. Now this one's pretty simple and a lot of them didn't struggle with it, but I've done this with word problems and algebraic equations and things like that, that they did need a little bit of help on. And I was usually the lifeguard, but if there was someone who was really doing well, or even, I know this is surprising, but behaviorally just couldn't handle running around the room basically, or walking around the room without running, I would make them the lifeguard, and they would stay with me, and they would get to help me help any of the students that came for help. And we would slowly work on this together with them. Because if you have those kids, we talked a little bit about some of the behavioral challenges in our classroom, right? Not just academic, but we get behavioral challenges as well. That gave that student something to do and allowed them to work in a more controlled environment. You could also make this so that, you know, maybe you had a different group doing something else. You could make a smaller one where it just sends them in 3 cycles. For those that maybe you want to spend a little small group time while the class is doing this, you want to do something real quick with them in a small group to review, and then you can send them to do their own search and rescue. To make more of a challenge, you could even have some of your kids create their own search and rescue. So there's lots of ways you could use this. I just wanted to share this with you. I have another one we'll cover on another day. Thanks.